You guys, what's up? It is Mary Beth Eversole, the allergy actress, and today I am making something so yummy. It is sweet potato pasta, spiralized pasta with cashew cream sauce. Eee! Okay, so we're just gonna go straight to the ingredients because I just want to get there. This comes in two parts. We have the sweet potato pasta and then we have the cashew cream sauce. So I'm gonna go through sweet potato pasta first. So you want to have 4 medium sweet potatoes. You wanna make sure, I'll show you what they look like whole. Boom. You wanna make sure you peel it. Unless it's organic and you don't mind the peels, then don't peel it, just wash it. But I like sweet potatoes peeled. I know that the peels have really good stuff in them, but I just like them peeled. And then you're going to spiralize them, and I will show you how to do that in a few minutes. Now I just want to talk about sweet potatoes for a second. These guys are full of really good nutrients. So they're full of complex carbohydrates, fiber. They are full of beta carotene, several of the vitamin Bs, and they even have some like magnesium in them, and lots of other good stuff. They are starchy, but not as much as the white potato, and they're not related to potatoes. FYI, these are not nightshades. So if you are on that autoimmune paleo diet, you can have this. And let's see what else about this. Oh yeah, these are also called yams. In the United States, the FDA requires that yams and sweet potatoes be used interchangeably. I didn't know that. Sweet potatoes themselves are actually white potatoes that are a little sweeter than these. But I learned a little bit that sweet potatoes can also be these. And then like true yams are a completely different species from Africa. These are from Central and South America. So like, whoa, go figure. What? Okay, so then the next thing you want for these guys is you want tablespoons of olive oil, 4 to be exact. This is going to be divided. You're going to use 1 tablespoon for one thing, 1 tablespoon for another, and then 2 for another. So make sure that mine's all together here, but you measure it individually. And then you're going to have the shiitake mushrooms. This goes in here. This is 2 cups of sliced shiitake mushrooms. And then you can have any kind of greens mix that you want. I chose baby kale and baby spinach today because I like baby greens. They're a little sweeter than their grown-up versions. And you want 2 cups of these. And that's all for the sweet potato pot. Then you have your cashew cream sauce, which you guys, oh my gosh, this sauce is amazing. You can use it for Alfredo sauce. You can use it as a cheese. It's really yummy. Okay, all right, so of course you need cashews for the cashew cream sauce. 1 cup, and again, you wanna make sure I always say this, you wanna soak your cashews in water overnight. So these are soaked cashews, 1 cup. Woo, oh, sorry, I made a loud noise. Okay, and then you want 4 cloves of chopped garlic. Don't worry, this is all going into a blender, so you're not gonna be like, garlic, blah. Anyway, and then you want about 5 ounces of water, and this really depends on the thickness of the sauce that you want, so you can use a little less, a little bit more, depending on how thin or thick you want the sauce to be. Then you get all the spices. Yes! Okay, so you're going to have a teaspoon of ground sage. Sage is one of my favorite. Oh, I love sage. And then you're going to have a teaspoon of ground thyme. Now, if you do the thyme that looks more like this, where it's not totally ground up, you can go with a tablespoon, but teaspoon if it's ground, because that's a lot of thyme. Don't we all need more thyme? Smells good. Okay. And then a tablespoon of oregano. Oh, smells, it's like I'm in Italy, you guys. I love it. Okay. That's a teaspoon of coriander, ground coriander. And then, of course, always, you need some salt and some pepper. I'm just doing a teaspoon of each. You can add a little bit more, a little bit less. It's really depending on your taste. That's kind of that way with all of the herbs and spices. You really can add more or less depending on what your taste is preferring, okay? That's it, you guys. So let's get to the next step. Okay guys, it is time to make the cashew cream sauce. Yes! Okay, so first, cashews, all of them in your food processor. And You can use a blender too, but I would recommend a high-powered blender if you are going to do that, because cashews tend, even when they're soaked, they tend to be a little bit rough. So you want a really good blade. And then you're going to do your garlic. Pow! And then you're going to do your water. Now, I have measured it out before, so this is the amount of water I use. I use 5 ounces. But like I said, you can use less or more. So what I would recommend is don't pour all the water in at first. Just try a little bit, get the cashews to mix up. And then if you don't like the consistency, add more water. So I'm also going to put all of my herbs in there. So herbs. Okay, so there went the sage. Now goes the oregano. Here goes the ground thyme and coriander. And then the salt, I'm just going to put half the salt to see how much I want. And I'm going to put half the pepper to see how much I want. Okay. And now comes my favorite part. Here we go. Pulse, pulse. Ha, ha, ha. Okay. You will want to stop halfway through and scrape it down. By the way, this is a great start for cashew cheese as well. So all you would need to add to that one is some nutritional yeast. So I would say start with a tablespoon of nutritional yeast, see how it tastes. If you want a little bit more cheesy flavor, add a little bit more nutritional yeast. Okay, we're gonna go again. Ready? 1, 2, go! It's starting to look creamy, y'all. You want to go until it's like totally creamy, creamy, cream. There we go. All right, so my sauce is thick because I like thick sauce, but I'm making this for you all. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use a little bit more water to show you what a little bit more creamy would look like. Water. Oh, no. Not cube. Water. Unless you want the frozen version of this. So I'm going to add a little bit more because I kind of wanted it to look Alfredo-y today. So let's try it. It's a little better, I think. I want to... See, there's this top to your food processor, too, that you can actually go like this. Wah. Isn't that fun? Ha ha ha. Okay, a little bit longer. Okay, so this is the consistency I wanted today for the Alfredo-y stuff, which is like, wah, like that. And again, if you want it even more that way, you can put more water. If you want thicky, creamy stuff that's more like cheese, less water. And a little bit of nutritional yeast, because that's what makes it cheesy flavor. So, okay, that's all. That's all. You just put it on at the end when we're done with the noodles. So I have started 2 skillets cooking, and I have put some olive oil in. So I put 1 tablespoon in here and 1 tablespoon in here, and then you have more of your olive oil left over for whatever needs it, okay? So in one of the pans, you're gonna put your sweet potatoes. So we're gonna go ahead and put these sweet potatoes in this one over here because basically all they do is just sit there and cook for a bit. So, and I'm gonna do a little bit at a time because these are a lot of sweet potatoes. I had really giant sweet potatoes when I cut them and spiralized them. So this is a process. Like you might have to cook like a round of sweet potatoes and then cook another round of sweet potatoes. So I'm going to turn that down just a little bit. And you want to make sure that you coat it with the olive oil. And I can tell right now that I'm going to need more. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this on top. Wow! The sweet potatoes cook down. You don't want them to be mushy. You don't want mashed sweet potatoes. So cook them down for just about 6 or 7 minutes. And that's it. And then you'll be good there. So I'm just going to let these sit for a bit. I'm going to turn the heat down a little further. And then the other one, this guy right here, is a hot pan. And we're gonna do the mushrooms first. Mushrooms go for like, I don't know, 2 to 3 minutes. And yeah, and you just start sauteing them essentially. I'm gonna turn the heat up on this one because mushrooms cook down a little slower. So yeah, I wanna put a little bit more olive oil in that one. So if you can't tell, a lot of times sauteing and stuff like that is really kind of by eye. Yes, you have the measurements if you have to stick to the recipe, but as you start cooking for yourself more, you're going to see that you really just, eyeball it. You really just, and you do it to your taste, your flavor taste, your flavor palette. So I have a couple things I want to say about sweet potatoes, which I've talked about them a little bit already, but they're really cool. So like I said, sweet potatoes that we know in the United States came from Central and South America, and they existed for like a super long time. And the first time the word sweet potato came up in written form was actually in the Oxford English Dictionary. I just thought that was funny. In 1770s, I think 1772 maybe. I just thought that was funny because it's like before that they were yams and then they were sweet potatoes, and who decided to start calling them sweet potatoes? I don't know. Anyway, they are sweet. They're yummy. So I'm stirring my mushrooms. They're cooking down. And I'm going to stir my sweet potatoes because they're cooking down. And it's so loud and sizzly. Do you hear it? I love it. So we're cooking these sweet potatoes, and they're doing very well. And then the other thing I want to say about this is my friend Lori, whom you've met, she has been on the show, Lori Gray, helped me for my launch party for the Indiegogo campaign that we did to help raise funds for our season 2. And we made this dish, this sweet potato spiralized dish, and it was so yummy. Oh my gosh. And she was just a godsend that day. I don't know how I would have made it through without you, Lori. Thank you. So again, these sweet potatoes are cooking down, and the mushrooms are beginning to cook down. So when the mushrooms have cooked down, they're going to start to shrivel up a little bit, okay? When they shrivel, you want to make sure that you add a little bit more oil, because then you're going to add your greens. So my mushrooms are shriveling. So I'm going to turn the heat down first of all. Don't put oil in a pan that's on high. Just don't do it. Don't do it, because it will go like this. And you'll be like, ah! And then it'll be an emergency room visit, and you don't want that. So turn your heat down before you add the oil, or if you must put it on top of the food, don't put it directly on the pan. So I'm going to put a little bit more. Wah, wah, wah. The oil is going on top of the food. And then the greens go in. Now greens look like, oh my gosh, they're filling the entire pan, but guess what? Greens wilt. And when the greens wilt, they get really teeny tiny. And they look like canned spinach does. So, and they taste really good. I like sauteed greens the best because that's where I feel like the most flavor comes out of them. Sometimes when you have kale, it can be really bitter when it's not cooked, if it's just like in a salad or something. But if you cook it down and you put a little bit of salt and pepper or spices that you like, then it tastes really good. And baby kale actually is a little sweeter than any of the bigger kales, like I said. So, and then spinach is just, I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. The spinach is good for you and tasty and all sorts of things. So I'm going to add a little bit more oil over to this place here. So this is how you cook dual purpose in the kitchen. See, ta-da! And our greens are starting to wilt, which means that you're going to be close to being done. When the greens are wilted, you're done cooking those. And then we'll combine them, and then we make yumminess, okay? So I'm going to keep on cooking these, and I'll see you on the flip side. Okay, so here is the next step. This is the combining phase. So as you can see, I have brought my cashew sauce over, and we are going to combine the greens and mushrooms into the pasta. Now the pasta is cooked for about 7 minutes, and it's going to be al dente. The reason it's going to be al dente is because it's going to keep cooking once we combine everything. So you don't want it, again, like I said, you don't want potato mush. I mean, it will still taste amazing, but it won't have the texture of pasta. So, so what I'm doing right now is just combining my greens and my mushrooms and my potatoes, and the heat is down to low. And then we're going to pour in the sauce. Ooh. Hey, cashew cream sauce, you're amazing. Okay. Can you tell I like to do voices? Okay, so then the cashew cream sauce goes in. Now, remember how I said you can make it as liquidy or as chunky as you want? So when you heat it up, it's either going to be kind of chunky, and that's okay, or it's going to be more liquidy. It really depends on your preference, really. I mean, if you don't like chunky textures, then put more water in the cashew cream. Now I'm going to turn this up just a little bit. The heat is being turned up just a little bit because you do want to get the sauce heated up. So, and now we are turning it and we're stirring it, and it's so, oh my gosh. Oh, it smells good, you guys. I love it. I love it. Watch this. It kind of looks like Monster Mash, but it tastes amazing. Okay, that's about it, you guys. So you can keep it on low until you're ready to serve. But yeah, that's about it for the cooking part. Let's get to the tasting part. Okay, so do y'all remember Alfredo, like fettuccine Alfredo, right? Well, that's one of the things that was like my guilty pleasure before allergies, and it always made me feel awful afterwards, but it tasted so good during, and I just continued to eat it. Well, this is like the closest thing to that, but it's so much better for you, and it tastes amazing. So here we go. Ready? Oh, yeah. Get some greens in there. I'm gonna do my little happy food dance. I'm going to continue eating this, but this, you can taste all of the herbs, which is wonderful. You want to be able to do that. With clean eating food, you should be able to taste the food and not the oils or not the processed things around it. You know, sugar, if there's sugar in there, you should be able to just taste the food. And I can taste the sweet potatoes, I can taste the mushrooms, the greens, and the cashew sauce is just so good. You could also use this for cashew ricotta, FYI. Anyway, this is so good. I'm gonna go keep eating it. Until next time, you guys, this is Mary Beth Eversole, the allergy actress, signing off for now.